Midweek Motivator.
Today we begin a 5-part series from Dr. Adrian Rogers, host of Love Worth Finding. The subject, the Christ of Crisis. Today is part 2.
Now, when you're in a crisis, respect the mystery of God's providence. Friend, request the ministry of God's people. Now, what is the ministry of God's people? It is prayer. Look now in verse 5. Peter, therefore, was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. That is a great verse on prayer. Look at it again. Peter, therefore, was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. Now, there seems to be no hope for Peter. Peter is in maximum security. The prison is guarded on the outside with 2 guards by the door. There are 16 guards who are guarding Peter. He must have been fairly important for 16 personal guards to guard him. And besides all of that, he's chained to a guard on this hand, and he's chained to a guard on that hand. I would say, brother, you talk about a man who is in a pickle. He's in a pickle. And on top of that, he is sentenced to death. And a wicked king says, soon I'm going to execute you. Now, that, friend, is a crisis. You may think you have a crisis, but Peter is really in a crisis. There seems to be no hope for Peter. Every door is shut. Every door except one, and that's the one that goes straight up. That was the door they could not shut. We can pray. In a crisis, there's always prayer. And when there's no hope on the horizontal level, there's always hope on the vertical level. Now, I want us to look at this prayer. And I want us to just pull over and park here for a moment, because when there's the mystery of God's providence, there's the ministry of God's people. Now, watch it. I want you to see, first of all, what I'm going to call the frequency of the prayer. Look at verse 5. Prayer was made without ceasing. Now, they prayed and they did not stop praying. And they may have asked, why doesn't God answer our prayer? Peter's kept in prison, and God doesn't seem to be in a hurry to get him out. But God is trying to teach them a lesson about prayer, and one of the great lessons about prayer is persistence. The Bible says, ask, seek, and knock. But it literally says, keep on asking, keep on seeking, keep on knocking. And in Luke chapter 18 and verse 1, the Bible says, and Jesus spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint. That is, not to stop praying.
To hear this again, go to kcisradio.com on the Morning Devotion page. And remember to listen to Adrian Rogers' half-an-hour show, Love Worth Finding, weekday mornings at 6 here on KCIS.